Before I start, one thing, so I don't forget, just a big plug for the Chicago networking event that is on February 25th. We've got great speakers in Ramona Shakira from Takeda, Matt Shattuck from Beam Suntory, and Rich Tobin from Case New Holland. So we've got three parents, all with very global companies, two of whom are non-Americans, sort of leading international companies in the States. I will be the moderator, which I always enjoy, but it really will be a good program. So if you get a chance, I hope you can make it for that. My sort of, I guess, goal this evening in this sort of fireside chat, and I think we should have fire, sort of. And I can go at the fireside. But I do like the concept of the fireside chat. I do have some notes to try and keep me on task, because otherwise, as Lauren knows, I will go off at some tangent. We didn't plan that, which makes it very sad. But just to go through a little bit about where we are, particularly with the strategic initiatives that the school's undergoing, and then we'll have some question and answer. Feel free to ask whatever question you would like. I don't promise to answer it, but you can ask whatever question you like, and we'll go from there. Very pleased with the continued progress of the school. We're making, I think, great strides towards a number of strategic initiatives in lots of different areas, and I hope you agree that I think the experience of our students kind of reflect that. I think we're delivering a very good program. Always room to make improvements, and we continue to look to do that, but overall, I'm very pleased. The strategic plan, which we discussed, those of you who are here, was it 2 years ago at the Fireside Chat? It sounds about right. We did the little group, breakout groups, right? I think that was then. And then last year we passed it, and sort of now we're very much in the midst of implementing it. Just a reminder, title, Educating for Tomorrow, Developing Global Citizens. Very focused. 4 broad initiatives to the strategic plan. Kind of a high-level educational experience for all students. That's particularly this creation of inspired global citizens. That's number 1. The 2 is this authentic multicultural experience. And that's immersing our students really in a culture of inclusivity and pluralism. Second one. Third was a marketing initiative, which was really about maybe enhancing the reputation of the school, particularly from an admissions standpoint, but also alumni, and awareness of who we are. And then the final one was a kind of sustained financial strength. How can we continue to provide the resources for the quality of program that we need to have at the school, kind of particularly going forward. So I'm just going to highlight kind of some of the steps we're taking and bring you up to speed with a few things. So it's not everything in terms of the action steps, but a couple. On number 1, the excellence of educational experience and the global citizen piece. Very proud to kind of more formally announce, and we'll get kind of a press release out and there'll be some other celebrations at different times during the year, the new Stewart Global Leadership Center. And the Executive Director, Matt Mink, who is now on board at Lake Forest Academy, he's going to be leading the efforts and increased opportunities for all of our students to be engaged in global education and global leadership. It's a great opportunity for us at the school, for Lake Forest Academy, to have this. It's an endowed fund, significant gift from alumnus Jim Stewart, class of 1959. It's also a life trustee. And it basically means that we have the opportunity to develop true global programming, both inside and particularly outside of the classroom. So lots of things going to be happening with regard to that. The Stewart Center will be located on the lower level of the new student union that's being constructed, so we're going to be having programming within that. And Matt will be leading those kind of efforts to create opportunities throughout the school year, during the breaks, for all of our students to engage in short-term and longer-term experiences both outside the country and inside regarding being a true global citizen, the service, and all sorts of things. So that's very exciting in terms of where we are. A second initiative that we've done, and particularly led by Chris Tennyson as the Dean of Students, is a closer review by the Dean of Students, the Academic Office and College Counselling, regarding kind of individual schedules and course selection by students. Previously, it was more the advisor and the student coming up with, this is what we want to do. And that's still part of it, but we've added at the front end recommendations from teachers in particular departments. What's the next best course? So what are the options? And that then goes back through, particularly Dean of Students Office and College Counselling, to, okay, this is the best place. Back to the advisor to talk to the students, but with a bit more information prior to decisions being made. And I think what it's going to lead to, it already has, I think better placements for the students, which obviously should lead to greater success. And because college counselling is more engaged and involved perhaps all the way through, a little bit more attention given to how it plays into that college process later on. I think it's tied a little bit to what Andrew Posker as the Dean of College Counselling is doing, and really making sure that the college counselling process kind of starts in 9th grade. Not big, we don't want it to become the overwhelming, raising debt for why you go to high school, but we do need to pay attention to what courses students are taking and what areas they're going to get into. A third kind of key action step we've been taking came out of strategic thinking, came out of the Isaacs visiting report as well, and that was a better, a more comprehensive annual assessment evaluation for every member of faculty. We've always evaluated and assessed faculty, but maybe in a little more narrower sense. We're now moving to a more comprehensive, which not only includes the teaching, but the advising, the coaching, the residential, and putting in place kind of improvement plans. What professional development, what needs to be done. Saying again, it's not hugely different what we've done before, but it's just more comprehensive and I think more meaningful. And I think already we're going through the review process currently. It's led to, from my perspective, more useful conversations with members of faculty in terms of where they're going to, what skills they need to develop and the like. And of course, what does that lead to? Well, it leads to better teachers. Bottom line, what we're trying to deliver. I think that's more effective. Fourth initiative was kind of this increased number and meaningful advisory activities. The advisory at LFA is a very important part of who we are. I know probably there's an element of what some advisors might be seen as being better than other advisors, and that's part of that evaluation to bring everybody up to the same level. But last year we were fortunate in getting a gift that allowed us for the advisories to go out as an advisory, faculty and students, for dinner. So they could go off campus and have a dinner at Sushi Kushi or I don't know where something else, but basically get off campus and go to a place together as kind of a big family, capital family. It was a great success, and it's something which I'm very hopeful and I think will continue. We're going to work with, from a budget standpoint, but also a donor standpoint, to make that happen. It was a great initiative, which I'm very excited that it kind of does what we're trying to do. And then I think finally on the excellence of experience, and for those kind of doing the video, we're going to get to the video in a second. The new student union. We've made great progress on this great facility. It will be open in August. I'm told by the builder, Todd Altoonian, class of '84, that it will be open in August. As I told Todd, if it's not open in August, don't come back. But Todd has delivered on every project he's done for us. And I got a chance to walk through with the trustees the other week. It's a magnificent space. It's great. It's going to enhance dining. It's going to enhance, because because obviously the food service is going to be able to be raised in quality because the kitchen will be better. The day boarding connections, I think, will also be enhanced. The studying, I think, because there's another studying space throughout the day, which is going to be great. Bringing together again community and local community. And obviously the global opportunities, because as I said, the Stewart Centre is going to be located there as part of the programme. And so we just wanted to give you a quick update on the progress of the Student Union via a quick little video. Very exciting in terms of what it's going to do. We do have some little pictures for those who haven't seen the floor plan and some of the insights from the architectural perspective at the back there. It's a $9 million construction project. I continue to fundraise. I always tend to be very transparent in these things. We've raised about $6 million of that $9 million to date. I am heading to Florida tomorrow morning, you'll be pleased to know. Well, I'm pleased that I'm heading to Florida. You guys are. But for alumni visits and events, and again, actually I go back again to the other side of Florida next week. And part of that is to continue to raise funds. Some great conversations ongoing with both parents and alumni to kind of round out that support. So I hope at some point in this year to announce that we have that fully funded. On another note regarding the project, one of the things it's done, we didn't necessarily fully anticipate until you see the building and you realise what it can do, is creating some opportunities, some additional opportunities for the school, particularly to enhance some pretty important areas. And we've decided that these enhancements, these areas that the Student Union building is kind of creating this opportunity for, will be the focus of this year's Gala. Unite LFA, which is on April 30th. That's Saturday. I encourage everybody to come. And if you don't know what you're doing, just put your hand up ever so often. It's a very exciting thing to do. Those of you who haven't been there, you'll find out. But what it's going to allow us, we're going to try and raise funds, as I say, to take advantage of this of the project. We're going to upgrade the campus network. The Wi-Fi network, so allow us to have greater speed connectivity. To be honest, coverage, so it will go all the way, formal gardens to the soccer fields, and also everywhere around and within the Student Union itself. The fact we built this building created this opportunity, if that makes sense, where the wiring kind of was. It's allowing us to do some things, to be able to bring some into the budget of the Student Union, and if we can raise the other funds, we can really enhance what we have for the rest of campus. So we want to take advantage of that. Enhancing and creating, but certainly enhancing, providing some outdoor space, particularly for student gathering, but for community gathering. Again, the building and particularly how we're going to landscape around it is creating, as we realise exactly how it's playing out, some opportunities for us to be, I think, fairly thoughtful and innovative in creating some great, inviting spaces. And then the last is It's not, you know, don't think we under-budgeted or anything else, but we realised that this is the Stewart Centre was something we didn't originally think was going to go into this building. It became a nice add-on as such. Some augmented in furnishings and some of the extras that we can put into the building, which is going to make the space and the opportunities provided by it even greater. So the Gala is going to focus on those things, and you'll hear more about that later. The second big strategic goal, the multicultural experience. A couple of initiatives here I just want to mention. We've been doing cross-cultural competency and cross-cultural understanding dialogue between students, as well as faculty, trustees, parents, and the like, for quite a while. But I think we've enhanced them and we've made them a little bit more just a standard part of the LFA program. It's not easy, as we see things going on around us in the society that surrounds this oasis that is LFA. Sometimes it's difficult. At the same time, very proud of a lot of the programming and initiatives that we're putting forward to promote community dialogue. We're a very diverse community, and it's very important for us to have that. It's even more important for our students when they go on to college and go on in life, to be able to have cross-cultural competency, however defined, whether it's on race, whether it's on gender, on nationality, on religion, sexuality, whatever. We want to make sure our students have that competency. Multicultural Dialogue Day this year, we've got the opportunity to bring in Harvard's Ulrich Johnson, who's going to work with the students. He's a leader in the field of kind of cross-cultural competency, somebody that's worked with the school before, way back, particularly worked with Matt Nick, actually, who's really the reason we've been able to get it. So that's going to be an exciting initiative. And then the second one, and I'm going to do a bit of a plug here to the parents, the AIM, the Assessment, Inclusivity and Multiculturalism, this survey that we're conducting with our students, our faculty, our parents, our alums, trustees. We're really trying to get a true picture of where we are. We think we do a pretty good job in inclusivity, multicultural education. We're a pretty pluralistic school in our approach. But are we? Well, the only way is to look at, survey, do reports on, and see exactly where we are compared to other schools. This is the National Association of Independent Schools process, so we can get some benchmarking. And my plug is, if you haven't completed the survey, and I know everybody in this room has, but just in case somebody hasn't, if you could, it would be great. I mean, we want to get as robust a return on the surveys as we can, because then it's more statistically significant and the like. So if you haven't done it, it doesn't take very long. I would like to say you've got to go to that last page and press submit. It gets you there, but...
John, how can they find it?
They would have received a push page yesterday from me yesterday, which I did get some back from a couple of parents saying, I've already done it. I guess we didn't filter out the people, because I guess we don't know who's
It's anonymous.
Yeah, it's anonymous, so it is. So sorry if you got that and you've done it and you felt as though we're hitting the people who do their work, their homework over the head, but it would be important. And then on April the 2nd, the Parents Association are hosting a multicultural dialogue, basically as part of this sort of program, exactly what we're trying to do at LFA. And I'm very thankful for the Parents Association for taking that initiative. Might be able to discuss some of the results then, we're not certain exactly what we'll have back, but great opportunity to push the initiative. Third goal, marketing. We went through new branding led by Kathy Morrison, Dean of Communications, and taglines. And you see two taglines, way ahead, which is more of an aspirational one, and the one which is maybe a more functional one, which sort of resonates, it seems, particularly has some of the talks I've given to alums. Midwestern heart, global mind. Isn't that good? You know, I can see Bernie Sanders kind of saying, good mind. But there's the Midwestern heart, I think it is, now it's not Midwestern values necessarily, but we are different from the East Coast. There is something more about character. but the global mind, really looking at things through a global lens. So that's something which I think you'll see more and more. And obviously the new website. Some teething problems, but it's a cleaner and clearer lens into Lake Forest Academy. And we're gradually working through some of the glitches and some of the sort of, particularly with the data pieces that some of you might have suffered from. But overall, this is a cleaner look. It gives a really good, and it's going to give us a great opportunity to really present Lake Forest Academy as who we are. So you're going to see that continuing to become more and more robust as we work with all the opportunities. And the fourth big goal, financial strength. Just a couple of things in terms of what we've done. We have appointed, you'll be pleased to know, a planned giving officer to Lake Forest Academy. And that's obviously to help raise endowment gifts for the school. We're trying to raise the endowment to make us more financially stable. He is actually not here tonight because he's already gone to Florida. Why would a planned giving officer go to Florida, I wondered, to visit alums? But obviously we're very excited by Gary Sloan's coming from Colonial Williamsburg. Great experience, great guy, and I think we're going to see some real returns there. Second sort of initiative, really led by Mike Reedy, the CFO, is we pride ourselves on trying to spend every dollar we have wisely, and particularly promoting the mission of the school and creating as good an experience as we can for the students. And Mike's charge is to make sure that that happens. We are an under-endowed school. We do have to rely on tuition income and ancillary income more than most, and so that's a very important initiative. I like it. Third is kind of linked to that is looking at how we can maximize the kind of the non-tuition revenue at the school, but particularly without compromising the mission. I don't know how many of you have been here on a Friday night during the fall when sort of everybody gets sort of shifted out and you suddenly see a wedding occur. It is a challenge. We've got to balance that. We've got to make sure we don't compromise the mission of the institution. However, the dollars that we do earn from the wedding business here and also from the summer business is pretty significant and allows us to offer programming we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And that's again something we're always trying to do. How can we bring in more dollars outside of the tuition, outside of giving, and to be honest, outside of drawing from the endowment. Less you can draw on the endowment, more the endowment can grow in the future, obviously. And then the final point here, and then I'll just conclude with a couple of remarks about tuition. The Campus Master Plan is another initiative that we've taken. We will be going before the city on February 22nd to do our every decade resubmission for a special use permit for the campus so that we can operate as a school. We have to do it. It's an excellent process in many ways. It has been somewhat more complicated this year. I won't go into exactly the details, but nothing to do with us. But just so you know, the Board of Trustees who lead this effort, Bill Dolby's been doing it as the associate head, and we've really laid out really where the school might go from a facility standpoint, how we operate really for the next 10, 25 years. So if you see that Campus Master Plan, if you turn into channel 19 next week, at about 6:30 or 7 or whatever it is, on Lake Forest TV, you'll see me speaking, followed by Peter Whitmer, our architect, and then Mike Shell, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, who's flying in from Massachusetts for this meeting. We will be presenting basically, this is who we are as a school, this is why the city needs to re-up our special use permit. They will, it doesn't matter whether they make us do anything or not. But just to let you know, part of our initiatives are to make sure that we're in a position to continue to operate as well as we possibly can as a school. The master plan is going forward, calls for a school of 435 students, where we are, no increase, 50-50 boarding day, 50-50 boy-girl, roughly 25% international, 75% American students. So on that piece, very similar. The biggest problems we've probably heard from some of our neighbours is just, to be honest, about weddings and things like that. Some of these ancillary. So we'll see what happens. If anybody wants to pass by on the 22nd, you're passing the city offices, feel free to come in and say, go LFA, go Caxies. No, we don't need you there, but if you are there. And then finally, I just wanted to say a quick word on current finances, and then we get to Q&A. Current finances, as we are now, we're strong. A couple of issues, however. We have a very low endowment relative to the schools that we would compare ourselves to, and particularly our program would be compared to. Our endowment is about 30 million. Well, it was 30 million, it's a little bit lower now. But roughly in that $30 million sort of category, which is very low for a school of our caliber, particularly because we have some long-term debt from the 90s. So that's an issue for us. We have lower than ideal salaries for our faculty, our teaching faculty, and that partly stems from the lower than norm endowment. It doesn't allow you to do some of the things other schools have done. We're probably at roughly about the 50th percentile of our peer schools. Our goal is to be at the 75th percentile. We know it's very hard for us to get to the top end, but we've always said we'll be at the 75th percentile. So that's an issue for us. And so that helps kind of frame a little bit this year's tuition and compensation decisions. We have, the Board of Trustees agreed, we've increased the salary pool by a significant percentage this year. And that's really to try and bring the faculty salaries up closer to the 75th percentile. We're not going to be there, but we're going to be at least, I think, closer. And we obviously need to do that to attract and retain the caliber of faculty we need to do. We're not competing against faculty that would be teaching at the local public schools. We're competing against the Andovers and the Loomises and the Taffs for high quality boarding school faculty. And so when we're not in that same maybe ballpark to get a young teacher, that's not to our advantage, and we're trying to change that. We're holding pretty well all the other expenditures flat as best we can. Again, that's Mike Reedy as the CFO's job. How can we use every dollar as well as we can? There will be an increase in the food service budget line because with the new cafeteria and the new student union, the food costs, we're going to be offering more offerings, we've got more stations, there's going to be a higher cost there. Also, the housekeeping budget line will have to go up because we've got a brand new building. It has to be cleaned. We're not taking anything away. So that's the two things. That then led, when we did that, to a tuition increase of blended 4.25. I would love to have kept it lower than that, but in order to do the program and everything else with that salary piece, that's where it came to, and the board approved and obviously agreed. I'd love to have lower tuitions here, but it's very hard for us to do that if we want to have the small class sizes, the quality of program, quality of faculty and staff that we need to do. We're still, when we compare ourselves to the East Coast schools, which is kind of the cost comparison, we still have lower tuition, say, at Westminster, Concord, or Middlesex. We're a little bit, we're about on a par with a place like Andover, actually, for tuitions, but they have $1 billion endowment, so they can use those funds to subsidize the tuition, which we can't do. But that's kind of where we are from a sort of a financial, sort of what we try and do to balance. As I say, use every dollar wisely. I don't like increasing tuition. Some people have been here a long time and said, yeah, we do it every year, Joe. But we're trying to obviously keep salaries up, we're trying to maintain an improvement in program. And I hope everybody continues to think we're good value in terms of we are pricing the program and the quality of the product is very, very high. So with that, I will open it up for questions from the floor. Lauren, you have a question? Lauren wants to know what her salary is going to be.
applications, what do those look like coming in? Increase
Yeah,
desire?
it's interesting. You know, it's great from our perspective, obviously, because and thank you for a lot of people in this room. But our applications are up about 140, 150 over last year, which was a record number, I believe, completed applications. So up around, I think, like 650 for about 125 slots. So it's going to be competitive. Now, we did see about half of the increase is an increase in applicants from China. We continue to be, which is again a great thing, we continue to be a very, very hot ticket for Chinese families, particularly entrepreneurial families in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and government families in Beijing. Broadly, maybe I'm unfair, but we've done a very good job of, I think, of not just being a school where Chinese families send their children and then nobody gets in touch with them. We communicate, we go and visit, we do a lot more. And the Chinese students have been very successful here. Our ESL program is also different. We put students into the ESL, English Second Language, get them through before they go into the other classes. A lot of the other schools just throw the kids into the mix to start with and let them struggle. So the Chinese numbers are very strong. To be honest, I've said this before, you know, the hardest admit to LFA is if you're a Chinese boy, 9th grade Chinese boy. It's going to be 10%, probably, acceptance rate. Maybe less this year. The date numbers are not up by the same number, but they're up a number, decent number. Domestic boarding is quite strong this year. Now again, admissions, part of the marketing effort I mentioned, you've been more maybe aggressive in getting out to some different places. But a lot of it is word of mouth. I mean, our biggest marketer is word of mouth from local families, Chinese families, boarding families, alumni. Parents have done a tremendous job. I mean, right now we hear about the school, we've got some here. And I think it says a great deal about the fact that the experience has been a very positive one. Our college placement has been strong, which helps, particularly against some of the local public schools who have kind of fallen a little bit, I think, in their college counselling and their college assistance program. Lake Forest High School a few years ago changed their counselling, and we saw a bit of an uptick, which has continued because of that. But the numbers are very strong. Very strong. Yeah.
Does the school want to be perceived as a school to come to for ice hockey? Is that?
No, I think we'd like to be a school you come to for anything. I mean, for academic, to take Mrs. Strudwick here for BC councillors. Come and take World History 1. But we've got, I think, a lot of things in terms of there's a number of sports which are maybe have a higher reputation than others, but it tends to go through waves. This year we've become this powerhouse girls basketball program, right? 20-1. I mean, and they're really good. I mean, the boys swimming, undefeated this year. I mean, a few years ago, and Lauren will remember better than I do, there was talk of us basically not repairing the pool and getting rid of our swim program. And here we are now with a very strong girls and a very strong boys program, and attracting some students who want to come for that. Obviously, we are the only school in Illinois with a rink. So that becomes an attractive. We also have a coach who's nationally known for developing great talent, and some of the alums have gone on and done very well. You know, DeBrinket, who's going to probably be taken in the top 5 of the draft, kind of raises and elevates LFA in the eyes of kids who want to go that route. So, I'd say lots of different areas we want to be that. We want to attract, because we recruit every student. I mean, everybody doesn't have to come here. We've got to go out, and we want them to come to be academic scholars. Let's have a good orchestra. It's a good choir. It's a good, the Vox, let's have a good robotics, let's have a good math thing, let's have a good everything, so that kids can find their place and be involved in different opportunities. And always offer JV programs and everything, so that all kids can participate and have that experience, which is really neat. Other questions? Very quiet here. Yeah.
And this is kind of just, I don't know, do you think that AP programs will be devalued significantly because there's more and more pressure for everybody to take as many APs as you possibly can? And everybody's just trying to take the highest level programs, which is quite right, they should be. Well, actually they should be, but there just seems to be very pressure that without that we're not going to get into the college of your dreams or the place of your dreams. And because that's sort of here, there seems to be more opportunity to take the APs without having to do prior classes, but it's kind of being devalued a little bit. And I don't know what I'm really saying.
No. I think you're actually asking, you're asking a great question about the AP program in general. A little bit of history, just because the advanced placement program started, I think it was Andover, St. Paul's and Exeter, maybe Lawrenceville I think was involved. And basically it was started because the graduates from those schools were going to places like Harvard and to Princeton and they were being asked to basically take the courses they'd already taken at their prep schools. The big one was US history at Andover, used to be called History 4. It was a bear of a course. Traditionally, you talk to some of the Andover alums, and it was, I don't know, a third of the class failed and got booted because they couldn't pass it. So one of the things that came about that was these prep schools sort of went to and said, this is crazy. They're going to universities and actually taking the same class at a lower level than they've just taken the previous year. That led to the advanced placement program, the idea being is you're going to be placed at an advanced level at college. It's not to do with the high school, it's to do with the college. You get college credit and you get placed in intermediate, so you skip the intro. Roll on 20 or 30 years or whatever, and suddenly it's become not that, it's become college admissions. And instead, AP has sold itself, and it's, meant to be a not-for-profit, but there's a lot of people involved in this program, that the college board has become, yes, you've got to have all these APs, particularly as a junior, but now that's going back into sophomore and even into freshman year, because they, the other year they pulled out AP geography, human geography. Well, what students going to take AP human, and they realised, ninth graders can take it. So there's a lot of schools around, and we're having some discussions about it because it's there. And suddenly you start, it's all the wrong way around, right? Now, the North Shore, this area, is a very big AP area. AP is very big at the high school, New Trier, Stevenson. AP is, if you don't have the AP moniker, it's not a serious course. We struggle a little bit with that because I think as educators, we would love to throw out the AP. Maybe BC, there's certain subjects which fit a little bit better in terms of the way the syllabus fits what you would like to teach high school kids. But for a lot of it is a college pre-P. It's there, it's not designed to be taught to high school kids. It's a syllabus that is for college. So you don't get as much interaction, perhaps, and student-centered learning, or whatever it might be. And so, it's hard. It's pedagogically, I think, a lot of us would say, even those of us who have taught a lot of AP, been involved in it. I'd love to just teach our own class. We feel that would be better. The trouble is, you then get into the college system now, and it's not, we're going to be harming our students if we do that, in terms of their college prospects. Well, we can't do that. So it's going to take a little bit more of a revolution as such to get more schools to move away from it. And IB isn't a solution, because it's really the same thing, except even more sort of kind of constrained. It's only 2 years, not just 1. So it's a great question, and we try and monitor it. We want to encourage students to take the highest class they can. At the same time, we don't want them to overstep where they should be. We want to give kids the opportunity. We normally have some form of prereq for getting into an AP. But if a student appeals, we will normally grant that appeal. Not always, but normally. Because we want it to be fairly open access for a small school. We want to give the kids the chance. But it creates some real challenges for us, without a doubt. Yeah.
Do you think that locally it will be something that you'll discuss? I don't know whether you get together as a community of educators, I know in other schools.
It would be interesting if somebody did get the local public and privates together on this in this area. It's happened a little bit more on the East Coast. There have been certain schools and areas which have all said, no, we're going to teach our own thing. And that's what you need, of course, is you need enough schools to say, we're going to move away from the AP. But it's going to take some time, I think, in this area. And don't get me wrong, the AP is a rigorous course, it's a good course. It's just, is it the right one? Like AP Bio. I mean, it's a bear. It's a bear of a course. It's a great course. It's a great course. It's a rigorous course. You've got a knowledge, the analytic sort of side of it. It's a great course, but it's a bear for a high school kid. Particularly if they take it as a junior. What's that?
Can I say something?
Mrs. Strudwick, yes you can, your parent.
I would say as a parent, as parents, the balance is better than, don't just say, you gotta do AP. And I've had students say, I need to do 4 APs or 5 APs or, no, you don't need to do 5 APs, you think you do. But it'd be better to do 3 APs or 2 APs and do well in your other classes than to kill yourself and be, a walking zombie and enjoy your experience, because then you can actually say, positive things about your AP Bio if that's only, the one of 2 AP classes or 3 AP classes. I mean, I tell my advisees, it's not that you can't take AP English and AP US History and AP Calculus and AP this. I know you can take that, but why would you do that all in 1 year and want to have an enjoyable year? So I think the college counselor would say, take the AP that is really of importance to you and that you think you're going to do well in. And if there's 3 of them, great. If there's 6 of them, what are you doing? Why would you do that to yourself?
Because the message from college counselor is,
Yes, so what you're saying sounds wonderful, that's not the message that
Well,
current
I think
seniors
the
probably
message
say.
they're saying is, push yourself. Take the class that you think, you can handle. But know yourself that you can't handle, yes, you can handle AP history. Can you handle AP history and AP bio at the same time? No. Nobody should do that. Nobody should do AP history and AP bio at the same time because that's too much reading and too much.
When it comes to college.
It's too intense.
Yeah, but so you have to organize your junior and senior year to balance
But it's not
it out.
enough. It's not enough. I told
Yes, it is.
I
Yes,
told
it
this
is.
Polsky last year, and I said, how much the AP? He said it's have to be 12 APs. How it's
Okay,
feasible?
that's crazy.
I said, how it's feasible? It would be.
No, and obviously you look at sort of the past sort of record of where students have been able to attend and look at the numbers of APs they've taken.
But
It's
even
not-
feasible,
the-
it would be like 9, not 12.
Yeah, but the correlation is the APs aren't necessarily what's going to make the college admissions process.
And you want
So you want to
enjoy
yeah.
4 years of high school, not
But when he in high school, he's in the about like what's happening this game.
Yeah, well, you have to, I'm saying.
It's not like, you know,
You
like.
have to be able to, like, tone it down.
Yeah.
Hold it down. Say to your child, it's okay if you only take.
Yeah, one of the things, maybe my word of,
It's before, yeah.
my word of advice to all parents is one of, it is the sort of the aspect of recognizing the sort of the balance, and it's sort of, it's about quality and not quantity as you go through this sort of thing. But I would say, make sure that you don't see high school as a means to an end. So all high school is as a means to go on to a college. The high school years you've got to look at separately. You've got to look at the experience in their own right. And you want your child to have as great an experience in their high school years as possible. Not just looking at, okay, what's going to be this next step, and that's going to become this, this prize to be won. No. Let's always make sure you focus on, some of it's going to be academic rigor. That's important. You want to kind of stretch the kids. But you want it to be, okay, how can you have a great high school experience? And I fear that what's kind of going on in North Shore is unfortunately this area kind of feeds into this a little bit, because it then feeds each other. You've got to do this, got to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's not good. It's not good for the students. They can still take a very rigorous program over the last 2 years, not go crazy. They're going to get into great colleges. I mean, don't think just by taking a large number of APs, it's suddenly going to get students into a better college. Doesn't happen. It's important to take some, important to take the right levels of where you are as a student. Like if they see you kind of taking BC Calc and then taking Physics 1, I mean, that's not going to go down well. It doesn't work. I mean, so it's got to be something that makes sense. And it is, as Lauren said, it's being thoughtful about how you play out. And differently, some APs are, to be honest, a little easier than others, particularly in terms of workload and reading. So it's a matter of being thoughtful about how it's done. Yeah?
You spoke about cross-cultural competency.
Yeah.
Can you expand a little bit on what kids are learning?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing a lot more of, Musanda, my account, the dean, has really been pushing, being led by student facilitators and student moderators, is how to have authentic conversations with one another, particularly about issues of race, sexuality, gender, religion, immigration. We did this year too. And we want the students to be competent, both in their understanding of different cultures, however defined, as well as being able to be in a position where they can have those conversations. We're creating a community where these conversations aren't seen to be unusual, but they are authentic. If you just throw something in suddenly, that's it's kind of the old, you do one day of multicultural dialogue. It's not really authentic. I mean, you're starting, you've got to take it to this next level. And you're trying to get students who feel very comfortable wherever they might be. One of the things we find, when again we hear back from colleges, and something where our students are, I think, highly ranked as such, is in this area. Our students go to colleges and are somewhat surprised by the lack of cross-cultural competency amongst their classmates, or even amongst the universities and colleges they go to, and they become leaders in it, because that's sort of what they've been used to. There's a large number of students who do take a leadership role in that here. The students who go through the Global Youth Leadership Institute do it. Some of the proctors and prefects go through training to help them do that. And it's pretty, I think, exciting to watch. Are we there yet? No. But again, we're finding a lot of things outside of this community in that regard. When you've got political leaders making the comments they're making, and not being criticised for what they're saying, except on a political bit, I find it unbelievable. It is. It's astonishing. And unfortunately, that's the sort of message going out there to a lot of people at the moment. That you can pretty well say whatever you want, because certain people are doing that. But I think to answer your question, it's an ongoing process. It's done You want it to be happening in the classroom, in the dorms, in athletics, in other sort of venues that we do, try and take students out on these sorts of programs, engage in it. So really making them true citizens of the world. Yep. Good question. Yeah.
Jenny talked about strategic investments, and one was in compensation. Are you seeing retention issues? Are you worried about potential issues?
We've seen a little bit. We've lost a few people to promotions to other schools. We seem to be becoming a bit of a feeder program for, which is kind of
Good and bad.
it's good. It means that we're producing good folks. But obviously, it's something we've got to pay attention to. One of the things that was a little bit of we had a compensation structure committee formed this year, and we collected the data in a more meaningful way for other schools. And we did get a salary scale for one of the schools at East. A good school, one of the top schools, not maybe one of the top 3 or 4, a very high level school, top school. I was shocked when I saw the salary scale. Because I was saying, okay, I'm paying 10,000 less for an incoming new teacher than this school is. And here's a school that really is a competitor for a young first or second year teacher. And that's when we started looking at it a little bit more. And it's that, how can you attract, and then obviously retain by having a little bit more scope. If you've been paying people more all the way through, you've got a much better chance of keeping them rather than losing them to a promotion elsewhere. We've seen pretty good retention of faculty. We've been, to be honest, we've also been active in sometimes saying this isn't the right place. So we continue to develop, we're trying to develop as strong faculty as we can. But the compensation it's kind of real. Anything else? If not, thank you very much for your attention. I hope this was useful in terms of and informative. Lots of other plugs I gave. There is still small speckled hen, I believe, and of course some other beverages. So please help yourself. And any questions that you want to have, just come and see me. Thank you.